Hello, everyone, and welcome to Arkansas Style. Thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. I am your host, Nicole Neiman. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's coming up. From craft beer and margaritas to lecture series and reader favorites, the Arkansas Times is geared up for a big 2026. We're talking events, changes ahead, and how you can support local investigative journalism with events director Donovan Suit. And from understanding dementia to supporting those who care for loved ones, we're talking about a local support group designed to help caregivers navigate this journey together. Tiffany Horton with Dardanelle Regional joins us later with more. And finally, when a relationship shifts from connection to coexisting, it can affect everything, from your emotional health to your family dynamic. So Charlie Simpson joins us later to talk roommates versus soulmates and how to build that positive connection back into your relationship. Plus, we have a few other surprises up our sleeve, but without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Arkansas Style starts right now. Once again, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. Valentine's Day is getting closer, and if flowers are part of the plan, now is the time to start thinking ahead. Chris Norwood, floral designer and co-owner of Norwood Day Floral Company, is back with us today to continue our countdown to Valentine's Day with fresh floral inspiration and tips on how to lock in the perfect arrangement for the people you love. I mean, we've reminded the folks at home, Valentine's Day is coming up. First of all, if you don't have a Valentine, get working on that.
You can have a galentine or a guytine or whatever. I mean, you don't have to always be a Valentine.
But definitely get flowers.
Absolutely. And plus, we have tons of other things. We have a great selection of stuffed animals. We have all kinds of chocolates, from Arkansas-made chocolates to chocolates are made here in the United States, so all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I tell you, going into your shop, it is really fun.
I even bought this thing yesterday at market that I probably have lost my mind, but it's these hearts that are made out of all antique brooches. They're works of art. You have to. I'll send you a picture of one.
Well, you know, I'm into the fashion and jewelry, so that's right up my alley.
Over the top. Yeah, I was like, okay. Okay. Anyway, so let's get started.
Okay.
So go ahead. So as we've been talking about different color palettes and different things like that, we also wanted to show you that now we're going to go back and do a lot of pinks, but just a hint of red to it, because you're going to get more value if you're doing pink flowers and fuchsia than if you ask for all solid red flowers. So I just put just a very few red roses in there.
I see them hiding on the bottom there.
You got all kinds of stuff to work with today.
Okay, great.
So anyway,
we're going to use just a simple vessel here.
Flower, and we're going to use some ruffle Lusianthus. We have a couple of heart roses, red roses. They're a little bit deeper red. We have these new garden spray roses. You've got spray stock, and then you've got some sweet unique, and then I forget the name. This is like a midnight something. It's actually a regular rose. It's just a really miniature size rose. But look how it ombres in the color naturally.
Hold on, we got to have Laricas check that out. Look at that.
That's natural. That has nothing's been done to that. That's just naturally how it grows.
Look at, and then the petals like this on the other side. Wow, so much visual interest. Hey, guess fun fact.
Fun fact.
This might be Taylor's favorite color combination yet. So let's see what kind of magic we can make.
Okay, they can do. Maybe she'll call us. She probably wants to come do it for her, right?
Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor.
Come on down.
Taylor,
yeah, we should have her do one of these.
And I'm gonna go ahead and warn you: do not tell me anything about lamb. I've missed the last one, so no spoiler alert for me. Okay.
Wait, hold the phone. You were the one who spoiled it for me the last one. I hadn't seen the last episode.
Oh, okay. Well.
But I watched it.
You did? You did watch the last episode? Okay.
I missed it. I missed the part where she fired him.
You did?
Yes. It was so anticlimactic, I have to say. Not very well done. I had to I go to my boyfriend, I'm like, Chris Norwood told me that he gets fired. Did you catch that? He's like, I didn't catch it. You had to rewind it. And then we saw it, and she's like, oh, you're fired. It was so...
big impression, did it, mate?
I thought she would just stomp and yell and, no. Anyway.
Well, she's too sophisticated for that. So
she is very sophisticated. How about that pink dress that she wore in that last episode, too? Holy cow. Where do you get one of those?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Plus my own oil rig floating down the river, Goals.
Goals. I don't know if I want those goals or not. That's a lot of stress, but anyway.
It really does, you know.
Yep.
That's how they make all that big oil money.
That's right.
It's funny
well,
because
I've actually been to where they did all the filming in Midland.
Okay.
I've been to that actual cattle where I did a program there last year for the Texas State Florist Association. They took me to dinner there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks just like that.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, I guess I wasn't that impressed with it. I didn't know. Anyway.
Well, speaking of, you know, like being impressed or what have you, so my boyfriend went to SMU, right?
Uh-huh.
And what the one little girl, she goes to TCU or what have you, kind of same difference, whatever, cut and mustard. You know, she rolls up in that convertible Bentley, right?
Right.
I go to my boyfriend, I'm like, do people really do that? And he's like,
really,
all day long.
All day long.
Are you kidding? I'm like, is that credit card money or is that real money? He's like, no, it's real money.
It's all old money, yeah.
Call me. I can't imagine rolling up in a convertible Bentley. I could try though.
You could try.
I mean, I really could try. You're done already? Oh,
I just made a smaller version of yours because I gave you a lot more.
What you did over
a lot more stuff.
Yeah, you sure did.
You're kind of not being like you're normal. You're not winging it out like you normally do.
I know.
No, you got to let go.
I'm having fun with these ruffle, whatever it is.
Ruffle Louisianthus.
Louisianthus?
Lysianthus.
Lysianthus. Okay. Don't make me spell that.
Well, as long as you buy it, you can call it whatever you want to. Anyway, there you go.
Let's go over some of those gift-giving options again at the store because I really want people to, you know, not just place the order online, which
we have
they
a
can,
beautiful
but come
array
in.
of candles you can add to it, and we were doing a lot of floral scents for Valentine's, like a rose scent. That would be great. You know, because sometimes red roses don't have any scent because they're not hybridized to have scent anymore. Right. And we do have a few roses that are very fragrant, but then we also have a couple of new lines of chocolates that we're real excited about, and candies. So you can do, and we're also, of course, we always do an Arkansas-made basket as well, trying to promote Arkansas-made product.
Okay.
So we're doing lots of things like that, and we bought 3 different lines of plush animals. So you have a wide variety of just if you want a really big showy one without being a lot of expense, we have that variety, and if you want more of a keepsake, especially for children that they would, you know, do all the time. So lots of stuff.
Nice. Very nice. Remind everybody about your hours.
Well, we're open from 9 to 5 every day, except for Saturday.
9 to 5.
And then we're open from 10 to 3 on Saturdays, but I'm always there normally by 7:30 to 8. So if you need me, just peck on the door. And then as far as our happy hour, we still do buy one, get one free on Friday. So you know, all of our flowers have a flower bar out front. You just come in and pick out what you want, and you can get one, buy one, you get one free.
I mean, that is the deal of the
So it's great for entertaining on the weekends.
Yeah, right on time.
How are those cutters doing?
I'm pinching my fingers, but you know what? I'm suffering through it. I ran out of time, though. I didn't get to add these little things. All right, well, again, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Get yourself a Valentine and get yourself some fresh flowers from Chris Norwood. All right, friend. Well, great to see you.
Come see us.
All right.
All right, thanks.
As always, for more inspiration, designs, and custom floral, visit norwoodday.com or visit their store off Cantrell Road. Now, still ahead, a look at some of the biggest Arkansas Times events of the year. Stick around. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. As we look ahead to 2026, there's a lot happening around Central Arkansas, and a big part of that is the events and reporting that keep our community informed and connected. The Arkansas Times is kicking off an exciting season of events while also celebrating a major milestone, 52 years of local journalism. We're here with Donovan Suit, Events Director for Arkansas Times, to talk about what's coming up and how you can get involved. All right, friend. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. I can't believe it's 2026 already.
Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you.
And you've got a full calendar of events?
We do. We're gearing up for a really interesting year. We've got our lecture series going on, like tomorrow night. We've got Nate Bell, and all of our lecture series take place at the Copper Grill. And so that is downtown on 3rd Street. It is in support of our investigative journalism fund for the Arkansas Times, which keeps us going as free thinkers and keeps us watching out for well, you know, it's sort of a watchdog thing. We have Nate Bell, and then February 26th, we have Chris Jones, and then March 17th, we have Clark Tucker. So if you're into the political end of finding out what's going on in the future, that's what we talk about at these.
Explain how that is laid out, because I think people really would find this very interesting and engaging, no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
It's an hour-long lecture, and Nate will talk for about, tomorrow Nate will talk for about 40 minutes, and then we have a question and answer session. It is available to watch on Zoom if you want to watch it on Zoom. We archive it, and the audio is posted later at arctimes.com/events. You can always find all the events that we're doing there. The lecture series is kind of its own thing. It's a very specific fundraiser for the magazine, and then we throw these community parties like our Margarita Fest and Craft Beer Festival, which this year the Craft Beer Festival is the 13th annual Craft Beer Festival. It's national. So, you know, we have all of our local favorites like Lost 40 and Moody Brews and, you know, just the Vinos, the list goes on. And that is going to be April 17th. That is going to be our last event in the Argenta Plaza before its big remodel. Then we're doing the same thing with our Margarita Fest, which is April 30th. That's our Spring Margarita Fest. It will be the last event in the River Market Pavilion before its $1 million remodel. So you're going to have to watch to find us for the rest of the year. We might pop up anywhere out west. I might do some things in Hot Springs. You just never know with us. We're trying to keep it fresh.
People will definitely search it out because, again, people love to attend these fests. So going back to the craft beer, when you say it's national, when I have attended the craft beer, not a big beer drinker, but it sure was fun to see a Chicago favorite, Goose Island, there.
They're
great. Just had, was at a party this weekend, and with my boyfriend's friend who was drinking Goose Island, I said, how do you know about Goose Island beer? He's like, well, I go to Chicago a lot. And I said, well, isn't that fun?
Oh, it's kind of astonishing to me how people do come from all over the nation for our craft beer festival right here in North Little Rock for this case. So you definitely want to come down. You can get tickets online at centralarkansastickets.com, as with all of our events. And please subscribe to Arkansas Times too, arctimes.com.
Yeah, well, we want to subscribe because Reader's Choice is coming up.
Oh yeah, next month. We do a lot of polls, and Reader's Choice is our biggest one of the year. Benny Keith takes good care of us at sponsoring our little, you know, we have like an event for the winners, and it's always fun to vote. People really like doing that. The Margarita Fest this year is going to be, it's a margarita competition. We call it a festival, but you get to come and vote for your favorite. It's always fun. We have all of the local favorite bartenders, and we've got a couple of other bartender events in the works that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. Yeah,
what a tease.
I know, right? It is quite a tease. There's a lot of new things happening in the River Market and Argenta this year. Even though the construction's going on, we're gonna be the last ones there. So you want to definitely check out April 17th Craft Beer and April 30th Spring Margarita Festival. And every month we do the lecture series too.
Yeah. So when we're talking about a lot of new and fun changes on the horizon, you're also asking for some input from, you know, fans and party goers.
Always. If you guys have, you know, event ideas, they're community events, so we really want your input. You can follow us on socials. You can leave us messages on Facebook at Arc Times Events, Instagram too, arctimes_events. And you can just email events@arctimes if you want, and we'd love to hear your input because these are community events. They're designed to bring us all together so that we can figure out what's best to do.
Well, Donovan, I'll follow you anywhere you go. You always throw a great party.
You're so
Good to
awesome.
see you.
Thank you
and
so
here
much,
we
thanks.
go. Another year of fun ahead. So exciting. So much to look forward to this year, and a great reminder of how important local journalism is to our community. For a full list of upcoming events and more information on how to support the Investigative Reporter Fund, head to arctimes.com/events. Now, coming up next, how Dardanelle Regional is supporting dementia caregivers and how you can take part in their monthly support groups. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Caregiving can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also be overwhelming, especially when dementia is part of the journey. Dardanelle Regional is offering a dementia support group designed to help caregivers feel informed, supported, and less alone. Joining us today is Tiffany Horton to talk about how these groups work and who they're for and why this kind of support matters. All right, Tiffany, well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start at the top, lay a little foundation. What is dementia?
So dementia, a lot of people think it's a disease, but it's really not. It's a group of symptoms where your brain is failing in some different areas. And we always think about just memory loss, but it really isn't just about memory loss. It is about your whole brain, your whole ability to reason and function declining.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's very important business we're talking about here. How prevalent do you see it across the state?
I will tell you, in Arkansas right now, we have approximately 170,000 caregivers that we know of. So that doesn't even include the people that are in the nursing homes. We're talking more about caregivers in the home, home health, things like that. So it's a pretty prevalent thing, and it's increasing, it's growing. We also are seeing people get dementia younger, in their 50s and 60s now.
Okay, so of course the patient who has dementia is being taken care of by their medical team, but caregivers are just a unique breed. You know, they're going it on their own. This is where you come in and offering support groups. How is this helping those?
Caregivers it's not just one person that gets dementia, it is a family disease. So, and especially if you are the primary caregiver, your whole world becomes around this one person. A lot of friends start disappearing. They don't know how to handle seeing their friend with dementia, and so they're isolated, they're alone, they're stressed out. Even when they're sleeping, I tell my people, even when you're asleep, your nervous system is just constantly heightened because you're like, are they getting outside? What are they doing? Are they sleeping? You wake up and they've pulled all the cans out of the drawers and things. And so it's just very overwhelming as a whole.
So there's such a thing as an IOP, and how does this help support family members?
For intensive outpatients, I tell people that is where the healing happens. For the caregivers, the intensive outpatient, they get to come, they get to be around people, and it's a group therapy. It's 3 times a week, 4 times a week, but they get to express what's going on with them in a safe place. They get to work with social workers who help them process all the things they're going through. You know, the depression, the isolation. They also get to see our psychiatrists, so if they do want medication, they have that option, and it's hard to see a psychiatrist without being on a 3-month wait list. So ours, you get to see them immediately, once a month, that's needed. So just makes it where you have a group where you can come and process everything you're going through and not be alone, just like with the support groups.
Yeah, you know, I think people at home, you know, are suffering in silence, and they don't realize the kind of help out there that you're offering, and what a game changer it can be to be able to be around people who are dealing with the same set of circumstances, and then of course to have those incredible professional support services. So if somebody is really identifying with what it is we're talking about, how do they find a support group, and when do those support groups meet?
Well, you can always call me at 501-730-1610. You can text or call that number. That's my work cell. I will talk you through it. Even if you are nowhere near Pope or Yelk County, I am always glad to help people find help. Alzheimer's Arkansas has all of the dementia support groups listed on their page. Ours meets like we've got 2 of them. Our Dardanelle group meets the first Tuesday every month, and our Russellville meets the second Tuesday of every month. So you can go online at dardanelleregional.com, you can find that, or just call that cell phone number. I'd be more than happy to connect you and, you know, just get you connected with people across the state, because I have so many people that have come to the support group and said, I had no idea how much I was suffering until I came and got some relief. And so that's the big thing, is I hate unnecessary suffering, and we don't have to do that alone. It's hard enough being the caregiver. So doing it alone, trying to figure it out all alone, feeling the guilt and shame that comes from not doing it perfect, you know, all of that. That's where we come in and we remind you, you show up every day. And if you're out there listening, you're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, well, thank you for being a safety net to all of our caregivers. Great to see you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Support can make a real difference, and no caregiver should feel like they have to figure this out on their own. For more information on Dardanelle Regional's dementia support groups and other services, visit dardanelleregional.org. Now, from breaking the cycle of burnout to learning how to rest without guilt, Isra Nasir shares insight into her new book, Toxic Productivity, right after this. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Today, I am pleased to introduce you to Isra Nasir. She is an award-winning psychotherapist and founder of Well Guide. Her debut book, Toxic Productivity, Reclaim Your Time and Emotional Energy in a World That Always Demands More, discusses toxic productivity and gives you also some exercises on how to overcome it. Isra, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, first of all, let's start at the top. Can you define what it means as far as toxic productivity is concerned?
Toxic productivity is a frame of mind. So it's like a worldview that we have where three things happen. One is that we become very obsessed with outcome and achievement. Everything is about what am I getting? What am I getting? What am I getting? Second is that this obsession is happening at the expense of your wellness. So you're skipping sleep, relationships, food, movement, just because you're so consumed with your pursuit of achievement and outcome. And the third most important one is that how good you feel about yourself becomes connected to the outcomes you can achieve. So your self-worth becomes dependent on your achievements.
Okay, it already sounds exhausting to live a life like this. I would imagine there are pretty serious consequences as you kind of have that sustained toxic productivity mindset. What are they?
One of the biggest and first is that your body starts giving up, like you're feeling tired, raggedy, like so there's like a physical consequence. But there's also this like emotional consequence that we don't pay attention to. And that's your mood, that's irritability, that's getting into conflict with relationship partners, friends, and then also feeling like a general disconnection to your life. So there is a pretty hefty consequence that we have to consider when we think about why we're pursuing the things we're pursuing and are they actually aligned with what we want?
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've defined what it is and then, of course, talked about the consequences, let's talk about some of the causes of why this happens in our lives.
Well, foundationally, if you are from a family that often used your achievements as a way of giving you affection. So if you were the child in the family, if you did very well at school, you got extra special things from your parents. We learned very quickly that, oh, I can actually exchange achievement for acceptance and belonging. So foundationally, that's one of the reasons this happens, is the family culture you grow up in. But even if you didn't grow up in that culture, in the family, the communities that we are in right now, the popular culture around work and, comparison to other people, so amplified. So even if you came from like a healthy family, you can fall into this mindset, this hustle culture, this constantly looking outside to feel better about yourself. It's like the work culture that we're in right now as well.
Again, just sounds unsustainable when we talk about these kinds of things. So in your book, you also offer some exercises. Can you give me a couple of examples?
So one of the things I really encourage people to do is the time energy audit, which I talk about in detail in the book. And, high level, we can't change something we don't know. So we have to first bring awareness that our habits are unhealthy. The things we're doing are actually causing us to feel a certain way. So the time energy audit is looking 3 weeks back, looking at everything that you committed yourself to, and then asking yourself, did I have to do this? Was I the person who really needed to do it? Did I want to do it? And did I get the outcome I wanted? And that gives you a little bit of like a high level view of what's going on in your life. What are you committing to? Did you need to do it? Could you have taken it off? So like things like that give you awareness. Once you have the awareness, another exercise I share in the book is the Chanel rule, which is intentionally under committing. So Coco Chanel said, once you're getting ready, take off one accessory before you leave the house. Same thing with your calendar. Take one thing off. See if you can intentionally undercommit. And that really frees up some time and space for you to reflect about your values and your intentions.
Okay, well, I hear that loud and clear. Great examples. The one thing I think people feel is guilt if they are not hyperproductive. Can you speak to that?
Guilt is such a powerful emotion because it's telling you that you're doing something wrong. And so in that way, it's external to you. So guilt and shame are like very close, but they're different. Some people feel shame, which is feeling like there's something wrong with you when you are resting. Guilt is when you are feeling like I'm doing something wrong. So because it's external to you, you can actually change your behavior a little bit for it to go away, right? And so something we can do if we feel guilty about resting is find different ways of resting that can alleviate that guilt. So research shows that there's 7 different types of rest. We often think of rest as just sleeping or just being on the couch or like not doing anything, but you can have social rest, spiritual rest, you can have emotional rest, creative rest. So find different ways of resting that feel more aligned so that you don't feel that guilt.
Well, Isra, what an insightful conversation. Will you remind everybody of the full title of the book and where they can purchase it at?
Yeah, the book is called Toxic Productivity, Reclaim Your Time and Emotional Energy in a World That Always Demands More. And you can find everything about my work on my website, isranassar.com. And the book is available everywhere books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and of course, your independent bookshops.
Well, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found that this little slice of time was very productive for you. From digestion to heart health, fiber plays a bigger role than many realize. We're talking fiber supplements next. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. We hear a lot about protein and vitamins, but fiber often gets overlooked. Today we're talking about fiber supplements with UAMS cardiologist Dr. Jean Way. The aisles go on for miles and are stocked with choices, but she's here to help us narrow the focus and learn what are the best over-the-counter products and dosing guidelines. Dr. Way, good to see you.
Great to see you, Nicole. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored and I'm delighted to be here. And this is such an important topic that most of the time we don't get to cover because there's so many other important topics. But fiber is a very important one. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the ones that we overlook, but we really shouldn't. So let's talk about it. There are different types of fibers, yes, we know. There are soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. They have many functions in the body, as you can understand. It provides the infrastructure, right, for many of the functions and structures that we have. They also mediate many of the changes that happen, the fibers do. So how much fiber do we need? Well, women need between 25 and 30 grams of protein a day. That's a lot. I'm just going to mention it. I mean, you got to really mean it if you're going to do it. Wow. Okay. But if you don't, can you have supplements? The answer is yes. Okay. They might not be quite as perfect as what you would get in your food, but we all know this already. If we could only eat everything as a food, we would be better off. Yes, we know that too. Mm-hmm. Well, so we're talking between 25 and 30 grams for women and 30 to 35 grams for men on average, okay? So how do we know if we're getting enough? Okay, well, we usually don't, so you might just assume that. You usually don't. Now, should you take supplements? And that's part of the question for today. The answer probably is yes. It can't hurt you, okay? And what will it do for you? Well, it allows you to have better functioning everything. When do you need the fiber? Now comes the question. When there is stress, like every day, all the time, you need more fiber.
So when we're shopping for these products, though, I've noticed, you know,
Yes.
in the aisles, you've got the choice between a powder that you can,
Yes.
you know, put in a drink.
Yes.
There's pills that you
Yes.
can take.
Yes.
Is there a difference between those different products and the way that they're delivered?
Well, not especially, because the capsules will dissolve and it'll be in your stomach for a while, and then it'll get absorbed and move around. So it's not that much different. It's just people's preferences. Now here's the truth. To swallow one capsule is faster than to have to mix the powder plus drink the whole glass. I've tried both. So I think it's easier to do capsule if you're trying to get out of the house in a jiffy.
And a fiber supplement has a cascading effect on your overall well-being. We were just talking off camera a little bit about blood pressure. Let's talk about some of those other benefits that fiber can provide.
Yes. So having said everything, what happens to us when we're under stress? I want to talk about that. When we're under stress, our whole GI tract, okay, this is where you ingest the fibers, they kind of slow down, okay? Your hormones like epinephrine, you know, all those things that when you're during the episode of flight or fright, you know what I'm talking about, when you're getting ready to fight or you're getting ready to run, those hormones activate and it just shuts down the gut because it gets all the blood flows to your muscles, okay, in your brain a little bit. So you, most of it in your gut just sits there. So you don't get as much use out of them, but you still need them. And so this is part of why we might need more when we're under stress. And I'm talking not only physical stress, but also emotional stress. It's incredible how your body responds, and your whole body is different. So like your gut, it just shuts down.
Will fiber help activate it again?
Yes, and
does.
it'll help you maintain. Okay. So the whole idea is, so now before you run out of the house, have a little bit of fiber.
Yeah.
But try to have some food for breakfast too, if you can, or have vitamins.
Have a little dose of Dr. Way is what I think. Well, good to see you. Thank you for that
Great
explanation.
to see
Very
you.
interesting.
Thank you.
I never know what the answers are going to be. You always surprise and delight.
Thank you.
As always, Dr. Way will join us again next week to answer more of our medical questions and concerns. So if you or a friend have anything you're curious about, just send us a message on social media and we'll make sure to cover it in one of our upcoming segments. Don't go far. Charlie Simpson is here next with the warning signs of roommate relationship and why building positive connection matters more than avoiding conflict. We'll be right back. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Now, some relationships don't fall apart, they just go quiet. The connection fades, the routine takes over, and before you know it, you're living more like roommates than soulmates. So Charlie Simpson from the Arkansas Relationship Counselor is here to break down the difference between roommates and soulmates and what it takes to move from one to the other. All right, Charlie, well, it is a sad scenario, but the good news is that it's not permanent.
That is correct. And this is one of my favorite topics because I hear clients say all the time, it just feels like we're living as roommates. We're doing good parenting, we're doing well being business partners, but it just feels like we're going through the motions. And you know, typically for those couples, it goes back to that 1-to-5 ratio. You know, for every one conflict you have to have those 5 positive interactions, dating each other, laughing, watching movies, anything small or big that builds connections. And what typically happens are soulmates are hitting that 5 mark and even more. And so when those soulmates are building those connections, what you will hear them say is it just feels like we're more friends, like we like each other, and we just find ways to make it work.
Okay, there are some serious disadvantages to living like roommates. What are those?
Oh, for men, you die earlier.
Oh.
So there's research to tell us that men that stay in low trust relationships or just live as roommates, they typically die 11 times faster than those men that are in healthier relationships. And for women, it's more of a psychological and a physical experience that they all have if they stay in low trust relationships. So it is important to understand, just like Dr. Wade was saying, when the body goes through that type of stress and it starts producing and shutting down in a lot of ways, it can really impact individuals if they're staying in a situation where they're just living as roommates.
Okay, and a lot of folks stay in these relationships for the children. What do you say about that?
This one is a tough one. You know, a lot of the research tell us that if you can stay cordial in the marriage and raise the kids, typically you could be okay. But if there's a lot of conflict, if there's a lot of clashing, a lot of stress is occurring within the home, it is best to just let the relationship go and just do the best you can to co-parent to make sure that the kids are okay. But kids are smart. They know if mom or dad are just living as roommates. They might not be able to articulate it, but they can see it. And we just have to, as parents, understand what do we want to teach the kids and how do we teach those skills to the kids moving forward. So it is important. If we can be cordial, it might be okay, but if not, let it go.
Okay, if somebody's listening to our conversation and they are currently living as a roommate but would like to get back to being a soulmate, any advice?
There is hope. You know, it's just a matter of that couple sitting down and just saying, hey, 2026, let's try to do something different. But more importantly, roommates have to understand how soulmates live. It's not always going to be pretty every day. There's going to be those challenging days, just like all couples know. But more importantly, how do we get through those challenges in a way to where we can still stay connected? So for those that are living as roommates, just reach out. We can give you those skills to be able to navigate through a relationship where we're just living as roommates and, you know, help that couple to be able to stay connected moving forward.
Yeah, let's start the conversation at the top because I'm familiar with the 5 and the 1 criticisms to the compliment.
Yeah.
Can you explain that one more time?
And that's that 5-to-1 ratio. For every one conflict you have, you must have those 5 positive interactions. And typically that one conflict is going to fall in 4 categories. There's going to be some defensiveness during the conflict. There's going to be some shutting down. What are the other 2? I done drew a blank. We've been doing this for a while, but you have your defensiveness, you have your shutting down, you have your contempt. Yep, the stonewalling, the contempt, and then you have, did I say defensiveness? I did say defensive. What's that first one? Oh, goodness, I done drew a blank. John Gottman. 4 horsemen.
Yes.
Those are the 4 things that you want to avoid in the relationship, but more importantly, find those 5 positives to complement or to replace that 1 negative.
That's it, folks at home. You can start small. Start complimenting, start holding hands, start to shift that positive from the negative.
Good,
Well, Charlie,
small things.
Interesting conversation. Thank you so much. Again, relationships don't change overnight, but small shifts can make a big difference, even when only one person is ready to start. If you'd like to learn more or get in contact with a professional, you can scan the QR code on your screen or visit ArkansasRelationshipCenter.com. We'll be right back after this. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
The Night Manager is back for season 2. Our Olivia DeBortoli had a chance to talk to Tom Hiddleston and the rest of the cast about returning and the long break between season 1 and season 2. Take a look.
I spent years creating you anew. It's time you get back in the field.
Making The Night Manager the first time was one of the most rewarding creative experiences I've ever had as an actor. I loved it. I loved working on it. I loved the material. I loved the experience. I was very proud of the result. And coming back to play, it feels the same. It's matched, if not surpassed, that experience. It's such rich, fascinating, complex material.
You ask no questions of me, and I ask no questions of you. Everything's trust.
It's about identity. Spies trade in secrets and lies, and the question being asked is, behind the masks we wear, who are we really?
She also asked the cast a really fun question.
That's your chance to be a snake in their garden.
If both of you had to have a whole new identity, disappear to some other country, and become someone new, who would you become and where would you go?
Wow, that's a great question.
Wow.
I think I would probably go to Southern Europe, where it is warmer, and maybe I'd be French or Italian, and I don't know, or Spanish. Maybe I'd be Mexican.
I see you as a Spanish, eh?
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could work with horses, maybe be like, I'd like to be like working with horses or something, work on a farm, and
I see it.
You see it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have no idea who I really am.
The first 3 episodes of Night Manager are streaming now on Prime Video. In Hollywood with your entertainment report, I'm Melvin Robert.
Thank you all so much for joining us today, and to all of our guests and sponsors who joined us in studio. Now, don't forget to follow us on social media or visit our website for clips of the show that you may have missed or just want to rewatch for a second time. We will see you all again next time with love. Mwah.
Thank you for watching Arkansas Style with Nicole Neiman. Furniture provided by Hank's Fine Furniture. Fresh flowers provided by Norwood Day Floral Company.